Today I will be introducing Jesse Sutton. He has been in Toastmasters for quite a while now and is our current club treasurer as well. Today he will be giving his 10th speech called Inspire Your Audience from the Confident Communicator Manual. His goals for this speech are to inspire his audience, appeal to the audience needs and emotions, and to avoid using notes. This will be an 8 to 10 minute speech entitled Tradition. He will be bringing us a new perspective on the traditions we participate in every day. Please help me welcome Jesse Sutton.
Fellow Toastmasters, thank you. Why do we do some of the things we do? Does it have a purpose, or is it just how things have always been? To borrow a line from Fiddler on the Roof, when trying to explain how things go on in the village, the character relates it to a man fiddling on the roof. And he asks, now how do we keep our balance? That I can tell you in one word: tradition. So what role do traditions play in our lives today? Why do we keep our traditions? And how do we start new traditions or carry on the traditions that we cherish and that we care about? So what is tradition? Well, tradition comes from the Latin word tradere, which means to transmit, to hand over, or to give for safekeeping. So a very simple definition of the word tradition is the passing on from generation to generation, either through word of mouth or through practices. Really get it back to that small town tradition. We as humans have some long-running traditions. I see everybody in the room follows one. We wear clothes. Unless you're a fanatical whole food, raw food person, we cook our food. Pretty much universal tradition to humans. Probably one of the oldest recorded traditions is also one of the ones that is steeped in tradition, and that would be the wedding. How we went from two naked people in the garden getting married to now here comes the bride with her white dress and veiled and walked by her dad on the flowers, on top of the runner, going up. There's the wedding party, all this tradition. She's going down to Canon D to the traditional wedding march. When it comes to weddings, traditions have traditions. There's so many traditions. So we as humans like traditions, it must be. Now we've also come up with some very strange traditions. Now it's almost Christmas time. Don't know who started this, to go out, find a beautiful tree, chop it down, drag it into your house, set it up, put lights on it, put decorations on it, put a bunch of presents under it. To me, it's a pretty strange tradition. Now, when Jessica introduced me, I had no thoughts that she was going to attack me. I hope she wasn't going to. And I had no thoughts of attacking her, but still, we shook hands to show that we didn't have a weapon in our hand. Still a tradition that is carried on from who knows when. Why do we still do it? Can I have a show of hands, ladies? How many of you were dressed by your servants this morning? Now, none of you are wearing button-up shirts, but if you ever notice, women's shirts, the buttons are on a different side than men's. Because traditionally, when shirts were first made with buttons, they were put on by servants for women, men dressed themselves. It's easier to button with your right hand, so the servant for women would be on the left side. Strange tradition, but we still carry it on today. A good example of how these traditions get started and carried on generation to generation, Zig Ziglar tells a story of winning this prize ham. Must be a Southern thing. I don't really understand how you can get excited about winning a ham. But he was. He took it home to his wife. She immediately gets out a knife, cuts off the end, puts it in a pan, and shoves it in the oven. He looks at her. Why did you cut the end off the ham? She looks at him. I don't know. That's what my mother always did. Perplexed, he calls up his mother-in-law. Why do you cut the end off the ham? She goes, I don't know. That's what my mother always did. He wants to get to the bottom of this. Calls up Grandma. Grandma, why do you cut the end off the handle? My wife does it. Her mom does it. What is the reason? She goes, oh, I don't know why they're doing it, but my pan was too small, so I just had to cut off the end. So, traditions, they start for who knows why and get carried on forever. But some traditions are useful. Especially for the individuals, traditions can bring a sense of unity, a sense of usefulness, being a part of something. That's why some traditions are carried through. Some traditions are there to pass along cultural values to the next generation, thus enabling that individual to pass that cultural value on to the next generation. In relation to families, traditions are also useful to bring unity. I have many fond memories. Most of my most vivid memories are from childhood of family vacations, or one of the ones I was thinking about recently is hunting. I have for more than 15 years gone to my grandparents' farm to go hunting on opening day and Thanksgiving Day. And the few times that I haven't done it, it just feels odd that I'm not there. And it's just a tradition. And it brings family unity. I was trying to think about in school, how often did we go to the same classroom day after day after day? I have no idea what those classrooms look like. But I can picture some of the places we stayed at for family vacations all through my childhood. I just can visualize those places. But I was only there for 1 week, and it was a different place every year, but I have that vivid memory. And that's what traditions can do for you. It builds in you that memory and keeps that going, the good memories. So how do we continue these traditions? How do we start new traditions? Well, if you're going to start a new tradition, it's best to keep it simple. If you purpose to go on a family vacation every year, that's not simple. Chances are it might not happen. But one tradition we have is, with part of our family, we decorate cookies at Christmas time with that part of the family. Something you can do anywhere. Decorate cookies. Another thing we do for our kids is we wrap up their Christmas books and have them open up a book and read it to them, because they just love reading and they love the Christmas books. So that's something very simple, but it's a tradition we have in our house. With one group of friends, we get together every year and do a white elephant. Simple. You go to your basement, pull up a piece of garbage, wrap it up, take it with you, and you have a good time fighting over the best piece of garbage. It's a fun tradition, but it's simple. Another way to keep traditions going or starting traditions is to have it be a shared interest. You want something like food. Everybody likes to eat cookies. Who doesn't want cookies? So decorating cookies is an easy way to have something to look forward to keep the tradition going. Now, to either start a new tradition or carry on old ones, it's important to be intentional. You can't just expect it to happen. You have to put it on the calendar. Buy a journal. Have it so you write down those memories. Everybody write down the favorite thing that they did during that time of celebrating that tradition. Or if you're the crafty type, you could put together a scrapbook, put the pictures in there, and then you have something tangible that you can look at and say, oh yeah, let's do that again, that was fun. So I want to challenge you today to start a new tradition, or to bring new life to an old tradition. It can bring your family and friends closer together. You can make memories that will last a lifetime. You could pass your cultural values down to the next generation. And who knows, you might just, if you create one, start the next worldwide phenomenon. When generations later people say, how did that ever get started? And going back to the Fiddler on the Roof, another line from that song is, I'll tell you, I don't know, but it's tradition. Thank you.